All right, here we go. Episode 61 of The Real. Oh, dear Lord, it's going to be some talking points, stimulus, and much more. So let's get this little bit of party started. So let's do a little bit of talking. A lot of you may know, and I'm sure a lot of you know through social media, that Donald Trump did sign the latest CARES Act 2, the huge $1.4 billion stimulus number 2, signed, sealed for the whole world at our expense. President Donald Trump signed the $900 billion pandemic relief package, ending days of drama over his refusal to accept the bipartisan deal that will deliver a long-sought cash to businesses and individuals and avert a federal government shutdown. Lo and behold, let's just say this. Who would want a federal government shutdown? Because that federal government shutdown, we're talking about hundreds of millions and billions of dollars do not get shoveled out around the world. So the massive bill includes a $1.4 trillion to fund government agencies through September of 2021. It contains other end-of-year session priorities, such as increasing food stamps benefits. So the signing this Sunday at his private club in Florida came amid escalating criticism over his 11th hour demands for larger $2,000 relief checks and scaled back spending, even though the bill had already passed the House and the Senate by very wide margins. The bill was passed with what lawmakers had thought was a Trump's blessing. And after months of negotiation with his administration, he finally signed it. Donald Trump's biggest problems about the bill, we're going to talk about that after I get done just talking about the stimulus bill itself and what, when it's going to be delivered out. But, a lot of people in the government called Donald Trump's foot dragging resulted in a lapse in unemployment benefits for millions struggling to make ends meet and threatened a government shutdown in the midst of a pandemic. But signing the bill into law prevents another crisis of Trump's own creation. I love how they put that. And by the way, this article is a CNN article that I'm reading. And I don't want to do that. I don't like CNN. I think that they're 100% propaganda. They belong back in the middle of Europe in another era ran by a madman. But signing the bill into law prevents crisis of Trump's own creation and ends a standoff with his own party during the final days of his administration. It was unclear what, if anything, Trump accomplished with his delay beyond angering all sides and empowering Democrats to continue their push for higher relief checks, which his own party opposes. So just a lot of people can understand if you read about the bill. This bill originated, in the House of Representatives. Went to the Senate and it was approved. Sent back to the House for amendments, sent back to the Senate, and finally was approved. So it's not the Donald Trump of the Republicans. And there's a lot of Republicans that did not want to put any money towards the American people. I'm sure they're scared about the left and their terroristic tactics about rioting stuff, providing too much money for these guys to run out the streets. But as Joe Biden said before I continue this article, we are headed into a dark winter, because the American people are going to be made to pay for not standing against Donald Trump. At least 70 plus million people will be made to pay. So in Trump's statement, he repeated his frustrations with the COVID-19 relief bill for providing only $600 checks to most Americans instead of the $2,000 that his fellow Republicans already rejected. He also complained about what he considered unnecessary spending by the government at large. And we are going to be getting to that topic as soon as I finish up here, okay? So let's be a little bit patient, and then I'm going to get over to it. The president said, "I will sign the omnibus and the COVID package with a strong message that makes clear to Congress that wasteful items need to be removed," that Trump had said in his statement. While the president insisted he would send Congress a redlined version with items to be removed under the rescission process, those are merely suggestions that he sent into Congress. The bill as signed would not necessarily be changed. Democrats, who have the majority in the House, already vowed to prevent any cuts because it takes money away from their interest. And once again, we will get to that, what's in the bill here shortly. Democrats will reject any recessions submitted by the president, said Appropriations Committee Chairwoman Nita Lowey, a Democrat from New York, in a statement. So lawmakers have now breathing room to continue debating whether the relief check should be as large as the president demanded. Okay, I'm going to stop that right there. Yes, they should. This is our money you're sticking us in debt to, okay? All that other deficit, the trillions and trillions of dollars, it is not one dime from you politicians' pockets. It's off the American people sweating off our backs. It's ridiculous enough that we all have to go through these hard times, but then realize that somebody in a country across the world is worth more than the American people who earned the tax money from the labor of their backs. Republicans and Democrats swiftly welcomed Trump's decision to sign the bill into law. The compromise bill is not perfect, but will do an enormous amount of good for struggling Kentuckians and Americans across the country who need help, said Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, representative of Kentucky. He thanks the president for signing the relief bill into law to give the much help to the people around the world. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat from California, called the signing welcome news for the 14 million Americans who just lost a lifeline of unemployment benefits on Christmas weekend, and for the millions more struggling to stay afloat, during this historic pandemic and economic crisis. But others slammed Trump's delay in turning the bill into law. We'll go figure that. In a tweet, Representative Gary Conley, a Democrat of Virginia, go figure, a Democrat, accused Trump of having played Russian roulette with American lives. I got to stop that right here. This is a message for Gary Conley, Democrat from Virginia. No, Democrats played Russian roulette with American lives, and y'all still do. Y'all's backroom deals, your dark handshakes, has brought this nightmare among and within the American people because of individuals like you and the deals that you make. Representative Jerry Conley, Democrat of Virginia. That's why we're in the predicament that we're in. So Gary Conley accused Trump of playing Russian roulette with American lives. Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer, by the way, has never held a private job in his life. Democrat from New York. Can you imagine that all the nut jobs are coming from New York and San Francisco? Said he would offer Trump's proposal for $2,000 checks for a vote in the Senate, putting the Republicans on the spot. The House will pass a bill to give Americans $2,000 checks. Then I will move to pass it in the Senate, Schumer tweeted. No Democrats will object. Will Senate Republicans? Democrats are promising more aid to come once President-elect Joe Biden takes office. Here's the one thing, and Ron Reagan said it good. If the government says it's coming to help, that means you're not going to get a damn thing. Nothing. Because for every dollar they put in your pocket, they're going to put $9 to $10 of that money back into theirs. Democrats are promising more aid to come once President-elect takes office. Well, buddy, you got to win. But Republicans are signaling a wait-and-see approach. Congress will push ahead on Monday when the House is expected to vote to override Trump's veto of an annual must-pass defense bill, confronting the president on another big issue in the final days of the session. The Senate is expected to follow through on Tuesday. In the face of growing economic hardship, spreading disease, and looming shutdown, lawmakers spent Sunday urging Trump to sign the legislation immediately, then have Congress follow up with additional aid. Aside from unemployment benefits and relief payments to families, money for vaccine distribution for the 2020 pandemic of elections, businesses and more was on the line. Protection against evictions also hung in the balance. I think, just in my personal opinion, if you were found to be riding in any of those streets and you were under eviction, you should lose your home. Because you want the very same government and the very same people who pay all the taxes for you to be able to ride and do stupid stuff in the streets. Now you're slapping us in the face saying you want us to bail you out. Liberal thinking at its best. Republican Senator Pat Tomei of Pennsylvania, who should be ashamed of himself, said he understood that Trump wants to be remembered for advocating for big checks. But the danger is he'll be remembered for chaos and misery and erratic behavior if he allows this bill to expire. Here's the thing. The great pandemic, the patent on it was filled back all the way back in 2015. I've checked 2013, 2015. So they already knew it was coming. So it's actually ludicrous and a lunatic way of thinking that you can blame somebody else for the people who hold the patents. Okay, so you better see all your experts you see on TV, because those are the guys that own those patents. So the same point was echoed by Maryland Governor Larry Hogan, a Republican who criticized Trump's pandemic response and his efforts to undo the election results. He said, I just gave up guessing on what he might do next. Governor Larry Hogan of Maryland said, Governor, here's the thing. President Trump was on TV every day for 6 straight months, while the Democrats did nothing but whine and complain of what they could do. They did nothing, except for New York City. We'll use it as an example. Governor Larry Hogan. What kind of lunatic, crazy man takes people with COVID-19 and sticks them in retirement homes? A murderer, maybe. So let's not blame one man. Hell, I wouldn't even blame Joe Biden for the same thing. Okay? The funny thing about the liberal left thinking today is what they do is they put the blame on the innocent people while they still commit everything else. Republican Representative Adam Kinzinger of Illinois said too much is at stake for Trump to play this old switcheroo game. I don't get the point, Senator Adam Kinzinger said. I don't understand what's being done. Why? Unless it's just to create chaos and show power and be upset because you lost an election. This is a Republican. Somebody asked me the other day, they said, Mel, why doesn't the Republicans go after the Democrats? Here's the thing. They're scared because they all have their hands in various pockets around the world. So they're not going to go after each other because they're afraid of being exposed. I warned people, or I didn't warn, I just told people at the beginning, 6 months back when we started the reel with Mel Highsmith, that they were coming and that their election was rigged. Go back, watch the episodes. Okay? Predicted it all. That's because I spend my time reading articles with substance instead of articles from the propaganda news media. Washington had been reeling since Trump turned down the deal. I bet their phones were ringing off the hook, literally. Foreign officials saying, where's our money? You promised me $125 million for me to say my country was awash in a pandemic. Now, to put it in a lurch after the president's own person negotiated something that the president doesn't want, it's surprising, Kinzinger said. Kinzinger spoke to CNN State of the Union and Hogan and Sanders on ABC's This Week. And that's where this article is excerpts from that. I like giving excerpts from CNN because most of them are just, when they announce that the asteroid's going to hit the Earth, they'll say that Trump launched it from Clendathu. Okay, so what's in this stimulus bill for the American people? Okay. I'm going to let you know just real quick, right after hear a message from one of our sponsors.
Hi, Mel Highsmith here from Lakeside Pawn and Jewelry. Just wanted to remind you that a friend in need is a friend indeed here at Lakeside Pawn and Jewelry. Lakeside Pawn and Jewelry has been servicing Hill Country for the last 25 years. Power amps and power tools. And did I mention jewelry, just like Patsy here.
Thank you, Lakeside Pawn, for always being here when I've needed you.
And so a friend in need is a friend indeed here at Lakeside Pawn. So come on down here where you expect our great service.
And we're back. God, you gotta love Lakeside Pawn and Jewelry, excuse me. It's that one business, that family-owned establishment in a small family-ran town that just has that hometown feeling. You can't let it go. Lakeside Pawn and Jewelry, where you expect our great service. So here we go. We're going to go back to the topics. So what's in that stimulus bill for the American people? White House representatives said the Senate on Monday approved a $900 billion stimulus package. That would give Americans $600 checks, blah, blah, blah. This is an article from last week, but it gives a lot of good information. The stimulus was combined with a $1.4 trillion government funding omnibus bill with a wide range of provisions, including making it illegal streaming a felony. Okay, the omnibus bill also includes $1.4 billion for President Donald Trump's southern border wall, removes provisions on the use of federal funds for transportation to help desegregate schools, provide a 3% increase in military pay, authorize funds for the Smithsonian Institute to create an American Women's History Month and National Museum of the American Latino, and increases funding for broadband. That's great. I think every nationality of the melting pot called the United States of America should have something. But it shouldn't be the American people paying for everything. We're destroying our actual history and putting in history that does serve one narrative only: a global government. The text of the omnibus bill says it will provide $500 million for the Israeli cooperative programs. It also includes funding for other countries, including $500 million for Jordanian defense spending, $33 million for Venezuela's democracy programs. The bill also has provision. Oh, good luck on that Venezuelan thing. They're already destroyed because the lunatic left, moved in there many years ago, just to let you know. That's why socialism doesn't work. Look at Venezuela. At one time, the world's third largest exporter of oil, and now it can't export dirt. The New York nut job, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, tweeted that members of Congress didn't get the 5,000-plus page omnibus bill to read until a few hours before they were set to vote. It proves her high accordance and intelligence that she would vote for something without reading it. It's not good enough to hear about what's in the bill. Members of Congress need to see it. Read the bills we are expected to vote on, she said. I know it's a controversial, and I get in trouble for sharing things like this, but the people of this country deserve to know. They deserve better. Representative Ocasio-Cortez, remember, there's only 16,000 people who put you in your seat. So there's so much horrible spending that's in this bill that basically about $700 billion of it goes to foreign entities. It will actually make you cry. Just do your reading on it, do a little bit of research, and you'll find out. Okay? Well, here we go. So I want to talk real quick about a young gentleman who has a business here in Marble Falls. Okay? Let me pull this up real quick. His name is Zach Hood. We've become pretty good friends, and my heart goes out to you, buddy. He's been in the hospital with kidney stones. So that's Zach Hood, the owner of Hood's Games and Things. We're going to talk about the location here in Marble Falls, Texas, but there is another one in Kingsland, Texas. Hood's Games and Things at 1814 Highway 281, Marble Falls, Texas. Their phone number is 325-956-9286. Comics, cards, Magic the Gathering, tabletop, and video games. And I will promise you one thing. If you want to go back to the days of old, as when we were all younger, and go back to experience the nostalgia of what it was like to be back around comics, cards, Magic the Gathering, tabletop, video games, Dungeons and Dragons, from all the old entertainment centers, from Nintendo, GameCube, Atari, on down through everything. It's Hood's Games and Thing, 1814 Highway 281, Marble Falls, Texas. 325-956-9286. So here we go. We're going to talk a little bit about the Nashville bombing. Nashville officials on Sunday named Anthony Warner as the bombing and the Christmas Day explosion and said he died on the scene. He was present when the bomb went off, and then he perished. Don Cochran, the U.S. Attorney General for the Middle District of Tennessee, said during a press briefing, "We base this conclusion on forensic evidence." You really got to see all the stuff that's been going on social media about this, and it's absolutely wild. It really is. And here's one of the things. So this guy got up on Christmas Day, decided he's going to go outside the AT&T building and blow up a supercomputer. Think about that. He woke up in the morning and he picked that spot that just happened to have the supercomputer that was analyzing the Dominion voting machines from the election. Mighty convenient. And take it from a man in a small town on a small show. Nothing is coincidence in this world. Not one thing. So, they based it on forensic evidence. The DNA from human remains recovered at the scene matched that from DNA belonged to Warner. Law enforcement said they were still investigating the motive behind the incident. They knew about it enough ahead of time that they were able to scream out through a loudspeaker telling people to flee the scene. That's the most amazing thing, to flee the scene. The FBI also said it matched the RV's vehicle identification number to a registration belonging to Warner. Wow. It's just crazy that you're going to see, as Joe Biden said, we're going to go through a dark winter if y'all do not bend the knee. And he did not say if y'all don't bend the knee, but the point is we all get the point that was put across to all of us as Americans. And that's one of the craziest things we got to deal with every single day. So, anyhow, Douglas Korneski, the FBI special agent in charge of the Nashville field office, during the briefing said there are no other suspects in the explosion and credited the public for helping determine Warner's identity. They can find the identity of somebody who blew himself up into little micro pieces at a scene. That was enough to destroy everything that it was targeted at. But they cannot believe the word of over 1,000 people in affidavits saying that the ballots were stuffed. Crack me up. The Christmas morning explosion injured 3 and caused widespread communication. Well, that was the whole point, to impulse everything. Widespread communication outages that took down police emergency system and grounded holiday travel in the city's airport. Police on site heard a recorded voice warning that the bomb would detonate in 15 minutes. Nashville Police Chief John Drake told reporters. Suddenly, the warning stopped, and Petula Clark's 1964 hit Downtown started playing. Then the bomb went off. Warner reportedly ran an alarm company at one time and was a very quiet person. I got to say this. We have all these rioters that were screaming death to America, kill Donald Trump, just blah, 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 blah. And they're going to say he was a nice, quiet guy. He worked as a computer consultant for the Nashville real estate firm, Fredericks and Clark Realty, where he announced his retirement early this month and then decided to go blow himself up because he's so mad. The Tony Warner we knew is a nice person who never exhibited any behavior which was less than professional, co-owner Steve Frederick wrote in a statement. You cannot make this stuff up. You cannot. And if you like The Real, subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Real with Mel Highsmith. If you like The Real, hit like on the page, The Real with Mel Highsmith. Join our group, The Real with Mel Highsmith. The group on Facebook gets you a lot more details about what's going on. You see a lot more posts than most people normally would. So, check it all out, okay? Before we get out of here for today, I want to talk to you about something, okay? And it's hashtag Save Our Children. I will not give this up. Our children are the most important tie we have to our futures because they are the future. If we don't do something about what's going on in our public schools, what's going on TV, and get our children back. Whatever happened to children going to the playground? That's right. It's the sick pedophiles and the people who want to hurt children hang at those playgrounds. So parents have been scared to death and they keep their family at home. The side effect of that is what? Your kid learns everything from violent video games and they go and enact that out in school. Public schools were never meant to teach a child to be an entrepreneur. It was to teach a child become a slave to a society that don't matter what your color is, don't matter what your sexual orientation is. It's designed to put you in line the same way the cattle cars did in World War II. People wonder why in Nazi Germany, why they took the guns away, took away a religion, took away your local sheriffs, and then pounded the Germans into submission. So it's a crying shame that today in America that we all have to worry about scenarios such as this. So before we leave today, I'm going to give a nice little prayer. And I hope that you had a very Merry Christmas. The last days, I know they tell everybody stay home. They're full of malarkey. There's a reason why the flu has not popped up. Because, you know. So let's get a good prayer going. Heavenly Father, please bless the people of this world who are walking through darkness. Dear Lord, give strength to these politicians that they maybe pick up your good book and read it every once in a while. Dear Lord, give a prayer for Donald Trump. Any man that has taken the brutality that he has taken for the last 4 years needs your loving hand. Dear Lord, the wolves are at the gate and they're breaking the locks. They're coming for our children. Please lay your loving hands in front and become the guardian for the futures of our people. And in your name, amen. Remember the one thing, and I've said it a lot of times. You cannot do this alone. I cannot do this alone. The stuff to where they say reporting on your neighbor, right? Remember the next time you have a flat tire or you need your battery jumped. If your neighbor don't come to your aid, it's because you reported on him because he wanted to have a couple of people at his house. Do not play into these games. Be strong. And I'll see you on the next episode of The Real. Let's say a little solo from this old truck. That was episode 61. So once again, do me a favor, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like the page, The Real with Mel Highsmith. Go to societyradio.com. You can see all the latest episodes. And then also look forward to the coming year for our new shows, Homegrown After Dark, Society Network, and Homespun with an all-new great host. I think you're really going to like her. So anyways, we'll see you for episode 62.